Highclere Castle, located in Hampshire, England, is one of the most iconic and recognizable stately homes in the United Kingdom. Set amid over 1,000 acres of stunning parkland designed by the renowned landscape architect Capability Brown, the castle stands as a symbol of grandeur, history, and architectural elegance. Built in its current form during the mid-19th century by Sir Charles Barry, the architect who also designed the Houses of Parliament, Highclere Castle is a masterpiece of Victorian Gothic Revival architecture. Its striking turrets, intricate stonework, and commanding presence on the landscape make it one of the finest examples of a country house from this period. However, Highclere is much more than just a magnificent building. It is a place steeped in history, heritage, and culture. The estate has been the seat of the Carnarvon family since the late 17th century, and over the centuries, it has played host to royalty, politicians, scholars, and explorers. Perhaps most famously, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon, in partnership with archaeologist Howard Carter, discovered the tomb of the Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun in 1922, an event that forever linked Highclere to one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in history. In modern times, Highclere Castle has gained international fame as the filming location for the acclaimed television series Downton Abbey, which brought its opulent rooms and sweeping grounds to audiences around the world. Today, the castle remains both a family home and a living museum, welcoming thousands of visitors each year who come to explore its rich past, exquisite interiors, and captivating stories. Highclere Castle stands not only as a monument to British history and architecture but also as a living testament to the enduring legacy of tradition, art, and innovation.
Lady Carnarvon, I live here at Highclere Castle, which I and my husband steward, which we have done, since my father-in-law died in 2001. So we started in 2003, and it's been an extraordinary journey of how you understand the value of heritage and how you persuade people to love it. My great love is history. So I've written, I think, 7 books now. The first book, I was very fortunate, has gone into about 30 different languages and spent over 60 weeks in the New York Times bestsellers list, as well as over here. There's been a home at Highclere since 749 AD, so I love exploring the layers of history. There's an Iron Age fort, Bronze Age tumuli, so I like walking in time. I love sharing with people. I'm very involved with the marketing, but it's a business, so I like the CEO. My husband's more like the chairman. We employ in the summer 140 people. At this time of year, it's 50 or 60 people. And we're a big part of the local community, and the heart of the success of Highclere is being a community, of being there for other people and being there for the home team and sharing it with community, local, national and global. I wrote my first book because Downton Abbey came out on television. We don't share in the financial success of Downton Abbey. And I thought, what can I do for Highclere? So I thought, I'm going to write a book. And I'd always been in awe of Almina, the 5th Countess. And I thought there's supposed to be a book in all of us. So I set off with enthusiasm. It was a huge endeavor. And my husband was really kind because I was just writing morning, noon and night to hit the deadline, which I did. And I loved it. And I found a vocation. I started life as a chartered accountant, which is very different. But that gave me a great feel for process and audit trail. And before that, I'd studied English and German, including Anglo-Saxon English and Middle High German at university. So I've come back to, I suppose, the writing side of my life away from the accountancy. But, my time at Coopers & Lybrand PwC was really good. And I think having qualified as a chartered accountant, it gives you other legs to stand upon. It gives other aspects which I can give lectures and talks on, which I do around the world, in America, Canada, this country, Germany, wherever I'm asked to give talks. I often go often about branding, reputation, to business schools, to raise money for charity and education. It's great. It's good. I think all my books are personal. The latest book is quite personal because it's about how George and I live today. So it's kind of a record of where we are, which I think and there's a few more personal stories, but we all choose which stories we do and don't put out there, which is a conscious choice, I think, for everybody. But I guess that is a little bit more personal. I use the castle's archives, I use National Archives, I use Books, Research Libraries, British Library, Bodleian normally, depends where the archives are, and that's the starting point of depending what the subject is and where it is. When I wrote The Earl and the Pharaoh, the first ever book about the fifth Earl of Carnarvon, I had been to Egypt ages ago, and I had gone in the footsteps of the fifth Earl of Carnarvon. So I'd made notes to record the sounds, because when you write, you can't always hear the sounds. You have to imagine the sounds of the past. Sometimes in Egypt, I think you can still hear the sounds today of when the fifth Earl was there, 100 years ago. Although I often think today that I wish I could hear the sounds of ancient Egypt, 1500 BC, 1300 BC, when Tutankhamun was there, and hear what it was like to live there, not just imagine it. So it is a process, and it's trying to put people in the place, imagine what it's like. Close to my heart. I love imagining the Iron Age life in the Iron Age fort, 1000 BC, and you wonder, when it's a very cold day, how they lived and kept warm in those days. And then sometimes I'm thinking about the third Earl of Carnarvon, who had the vision to build a castle, to build a tower, to create the harmony of architecture and space, and what led his mind and his vision to do that, because it's a wonderful legacy and gift for all of us today. So I don't really know. I love thinking about when the first trees were planted. There's a 1,000-year-old yew tree, or there's a 300-year-old cedar tree, or there's a 500-year-old oak tree. So I don't know which is my favorite. I think it's about walking in time. I don't really know I have one. I think many people love the library, and I love the fact that many people love the library, because that is our world's treasure. It's books, it's reading, it's research, it's thought, it's discussion, it's conversation. It's everything which gets pushed to one side in today's world. So I think in that way, it is really important. But I think our global presence has changed immeasurably, which is wonderful, in order to try and welcome visitors to the castle. It also allows us to do stronger events for charities, because people come here maybe for Downton Abbey, but they're raising money for those who need it. I think in that way it's really good. We do less weddings and more visitors. So the balance of our business has changed. I think it's, again, I'm always exploring what is the value of heritage culture, the buildings, the past, to today's world. And I think the global recognition of Downton Abbey allows me to explore it in many different ways, which I also enjoy doing, turning it around and sharing it on Instagram, whatever else I'm doing. So yeah, it's good. I don't know. I think British aristocracy changed after World War II. So I hope, what is great about Julian Fellowes' writing is that it didn't just portray everybody who's aristocrats as bad and the downstairs as good, because there's different characters up and downstairs. So in that way, it was a much fairer portrayal. Whereas commonly on TV or film, there's a set good and bad. If you inherit, you're bad, and if you're working, you're good. And it's more complicated than that in real life, and many people work, so it's slightly different. But I don't think that's something to worry about in today's world, because we're all working, and the perception of aristocracy has immeasurably changed in the last 30, 40, 50 years. Well, I've just finished my latest book. So when I'm planning for the future and I'm talking about to publishers and agents, I haven't yet quite formalized. Since I just published a book like 3 weeks ago, it takes me a while before, as that one is starting to market, before I come through to another one. Well, we've been farming since records began. So you have to farm in a sustainable fashion. So we've been doing that for a long time. And we've planted wildflower meadows. Again, it's all in my latest book, so that's what I've written about. So in some ways, I'll put that to one side. And in terms of sharing in a modern world, that I think we also do. So that's really, I think it's trying to keep the heritage and innovate. So we've always, we have to eat the food we grow. The joy of people and the challenges of people. We're all connected to nature. We're all dependent on nature. We need nature. We are part of nature. So to think in any other way is unhelpful. And I think here we're dominated by the seasons, by the weather. But that's a joy, and it's embracing it, and it's trying to share those perceptions and insights with those who visit. So I think that is really important. And again, that's what's in all my writing. Just to try. That's all. But I don't know. I wouldn't dream of giving advice or telling people what to do. But I think each day you can get up and you can just try to do your best. I think I'm inspired by those who lived here before me, and I'm inspired by my husband's kindness. So, and just by my family and my sisters. Possibly William of Wykeham from the 14th century. I think he had a complicated life, but it was an extraordinary time. And I find him more distant and harder to shape in my mind. I think I worry about global things like British aristocracy. I tend to focus on what I can do, which is look after Highclere. I think British aristocracy is an acronym which doesn't really sit today. I think it's about a world which we all put our best foot forward and see what we can contribute to other people's lives. So whoever we are and wherever we live. I don't. I would just enjoy Christmas. It's just what everybody else does. And I just think it's about going for walks, actually. So I think, traditions are nice. You have breakfast, lunch, and tea. I think we sit down and eat. But then again, I think you can sit down and eat wherever you live, to sit down and eat together. And there's one small TV which is stuck in a cupboard, and that's where it belongs. We're living in a very challenging world at the moment. I think we thought COVID was challenging, but again, it's a challenging world today with shifting values and shifting sands of culture and what is the meaning of life effectively? Where are we heading? And I think it's very, very uneven and very frightening for many people. And I think something like a building which is solid and like a home which has been there for 1300 years helps take people out so they can walk around as they can, and find a bit of time out and space for themselves. I think that's quite good.
Highclere Castle, often referred to as the real Downton Abbey, is one of England's most magnificent country houses, blending centuries of history, architecture, and cultural significance. Situated near Newbury in Hampshire, the castle sits at the heart of a sprawling 5,000-acre estate filled with rolling parkland, ancient woodland, and carefully landscaped gardens. The grandeur of Highclere is immediately apparent upon approach, its ornate towers, pinnacles, and limestone façade rising dramatically from the surrounding countryside, a testament to Victorian ambition and style. The castle's origins date back to the medieval period, when the bishops of Winchester owned the land and a manor house stood on the site. In 1679, it became the seat of the Herbert family, the future Earls of Carnarvon, who have owned it ever since. The current house was designed and rebuilt in the mid-19th century by Sir Charles Barry, the architect of the Houses of Parliament. Barry transformed the Georgian mansion into a spectacular Gothic Revival castle, complete with turrets, towers, and expansive state rooms that reflect the elegance and prestige of the Victorian age. Inside, Highclere Castle boasts over 200 rooms, many of which display opulent interiors filled with fine art, tapestries, and period furniture. The saloon, with its high vaulted ceiling and grand staircase, serves as the centerpiece of the house, surrounded by richly decorated drawing rooms, libraries, and dining halls. Each room reveals a different facet of the castle's history, from the 19th century decor to earlier Georgian and Regency influences. The library, containing over 5,000 rare books, exemplifies the intellectual and cultural interests of the Carnarvon family, while the state dining room and drawing room showcase the grandeur of aristocratic life. Beyond its architectural and aesthetic splendor, Highclere Castle is deeply intertwined with world history. The 5th Earl of Carnarvon, George Herbert, famously financed the archaeological expedition that led to the discovery of the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun in 1922. This remarkable achievement linked Highclere to one of the most significant archaeological finds of the 20th century. Today, visitors can explore the castle's Egyptian exhibition, housed in the old cellars, which features artifacts, photographs, and narratives telling the story of Lord Carnarvon's adventures with archaeologist Howard Carter. The surrounding estate also contributes greatly to Highclere's charm. Designed in part by the famed landscape architect Capability Brown in the 18th century, the grounds feature sweeping lawns, ornamental lakes, ancient cedar trees, and carefully planned vistas. Footpaths lead visitors to scenic landmarks such as Heaven's Gate and the Temple of Diana, offering panoramic views of the countryside. The gardens include a wildflower meadow, secret gardens, and the Monk's Garden, each reflecting the estate's long tradition of horticultural excellence. In recent years, Highclere Castle has achieved renewed fame as the principal filming location for the award-winning television series Downton Abbey. This has brought global recognition to the estate, allowing a new generation to appreciate its beauty and historical significance. Despite its fame, Highclere remains a private residence, still home to the 8th Earl and Countess of Carnarvon, who have worked tirelessly to preserve its legacy. Highclere Castle today stands as a symbol of Britain's aristocratic heritage, a living monument that bridges the past and present. Its blend of architectural grandeur, historical depth, and cinematic charm continues to enchant visitors from around the world, ensuring that the story of Highclere endures for generations to come.
Highclere Castle stands as one of Britain's greatest architectural and cultural treasures, embodying centuries of history, art, and heritage. From its origins as a medieval manor to its transformation into the grand Victorian masterpiece designed by Sir Charles Barry, the castle reflects the evolving tastes, ambitions, and achievements of the English aristocracy. It is not only the ancestral home of the Carnarvon family but also a symbol of endurance, preserving a way of life that has adapted through changing times while maintaining its elegance and charm. The castle's significance extends far beyond its impressive architecture and lavish interiors.